They just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, every single day, without which please watch the first series, the first 2 episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, it's history tonight with me mate, Anthony. So it'll be good. It will be good tonight because I think any kind of history with literature is absolutely amazing. And we'll have a few quotes as well by some of the greats. So, including this fella, I think, within his living room. It's great, isn't it? Got the little fire going. Well, where am I? A little fire going there. So yes, should be good tonight. And I'm sorry I'm late as well. Really, I'm sorry I'm late. I was doing something, completely forgot the time, and here I am. Anyway, and I just want to thank these wonderful people for sponsoring the Frank Carlyle podcast, every single one of them. And that's Gap Painting Services. Fully time served, fully insured, first class decorators and painters. If you want your inside doing, bang, get it done by these people. And if you're an NHS worker or an elderly couple or just a elderly person, it's as simple as that, you get special discount. And as I keep saying, if you don't fit into one of these categories, just call them out. Get a price. Just get a price. Without any obligation. They're the sponsors of every Carlyle podcast. Whether it's history, whether it's the history of literature, whether it's film and TV review, whether it's current affairs, whether it's football, they sponsor me. They sponsor me. And that's a big thank you to them. That's why I don't ask for anything off anybody. Because you're all good people. Someone super chats or anything. So that's Gap Painting Services, the sponsors of this particular podcast. And I've got my little mate with me tonight. And my little mate is well-renowned artist. See, I'm back. As soon as I walk in here, I get itches around here. I don't know what it is. I've had problems with my right eye as well over the weekend since Friday. It's terrible. It's as though something's in it. And it's all bloodshot and everything. So I've been in the wars since Friday night. Personally. No. With this anyway. So anyway, I'm going to bring in my wonderful friend, international artist, as they say, big moaner. He's always moaning at me. No, he isn't. What are you joking? There he is. Good mate, good friend, very good friend, Anthony Brown. Hey, Anthony.
Hey, Frank. Oh, what are you like? I didn't know about you. I just thought you'd be wall to wall this weekend. You know, it's a match in the pods and everything else. So,
It
wow.
was, but the high's been terrible. Really has. It's been. It's as though grits in it. Piece of grits in it.
Yeah,
And uh, every time I blink, it scratches. If you know what I
yeah,
mean. And it's really
yeah.
annoying. It's been annoying ever since Friday night. But you've got to march on, as they say.
Yeah, so have you been putting the tinsel up on the tree? Or something like
Yeah, you know, yeah. That's it. I've got a bloody picture actually. I'll show you what I've been doing. And Francine, obviously, she came down to help. Um, let's see
yeah, we're the same here.
if you can see it.
Oh, yes, I can see it. Oh, beaut, beaut. The spirit of Christmas present.
Yes, that's it. That's it. But as Francis said, you'd have to put it off for Sophia. So I said, okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah, me too.
that's it. But it is, it is Christmas. We do celebrate it. We've been celebrating it, haven't we, for, since we were kids ourselves, when we got into the spirit of things. Even as we went into adolescence, then adolescence into young adults, we always celebrated. And we always met, when people leave, when we get into our 20s, and especially our friends that just seem to vanish, they go and they go to separate ways to do their own thing, like get married and whatever. And it's great to say, I'll see you at Christmas. And, more or less it's a reunion every Christmas. So that's what Christmas brings about, and it brings families together as well,
It
if you
does.
know what I mean. People you don't see for years. Or I'm not saying years. What I mean is you don't see them like through the year, and then all of a sudden they just show up at Christmas, which is great. Um,
Yeah,
it always happens. It happens in every household. So that's our Christmas, isn't it?
that's our vibe. Yeah, it's goodness to one and all. And, we've got it inbuilt in ourselves, but God bless Mr. Dickens for
Yeah.
words. And yeah, it goes, I mean, the celebration of Christmas goes way back to pagan times before the Romans, and then obviously the Romans took took the reins, and Christmas became something else.
Well, it was Emperor Constantine who embraced Christianity because he
Yeah,
said, "Look," he said, "we've got to embrace, different, not opinions. It's wrong to say, but he didn't say different religions. He just said different worships. We have to embrace these people." So
faiths.
that was it. That was the start of Christianity in the Roman Empire, and it's strange actually because there was a fellow named Albinus, and he was a Christian, but he was a soldier. He was a Roman soldier. So when he, after the invasion here of AD 42, he comes along with the Romans, and he he's seen all the brutality and everything. He's just seen all the brutality of what warfare is. So what he did, he said, "I've had enough of this." So he stripped off, his uniform, and he put on this like sacking with a piece of string around his waist, and he got him. He was recognised by a couple of Roman soldiers, and he was brought before the tribune. And they said, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm a Christian. Now, at the time, Christians were thrown to the lions and, horrible animals in
Yeah.
the Colosseum.
I
And,
suppose.
yeah, they were persecuted. So what they did, they executed them. And where they executed them for being a Christian, today that's known as St. Albans. St. Albans. That's why it's not, St. Albans is St. Albans, because of the first Roman martyr, which was Albinus, the Roman soldier, who was a Christian. Just a little piece of history there. Just see what. Go on.
That's wonderful. I do love, because obviously there's so many different strands of Christmas. Because we as you described, we grew up fairly idyllic. No wars going on really here. There's no conflict. It was family, friends, busy houses, lots of faces. Even as a kid, lots of people passing through, all in good spirits, good mood. So we take that for granted, really. I mean, obviously, it's when we get a bit older that we realise that for some people it's not happy. It's a bit mournful. It's like any kind of celebratory event, date, marking in time. It's the people around you that make the moments, and it's not about gifts or gold or anything else. It's just about togetherness, really, isn't it? Phone calls.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's all it is. Togetherness. That's what it. Well, it is togetherness, and it should be togetherness, simply because friends. We always say, don't we, family and friends, and I think the whole world should be friendly towards each other. Unfortunately, it's not like that at all. I just want to see what our lads are saying and girls, if there's any on. And it's Christopher. Hi, Frank and everyone. Like and subscribe, says Christopher. Hi, Christopher. Hi, Anthony, says Christopher.
Hey, Christopher. Good evening to you.
And Snapey. If you've been in the wars, brother, minimise the damage by keeping your diabetes monitored. High glucose affects the eyes very acutely, Frank. Granted, your issues aren't directly linked, but stay level. Thank you. Yeah. That's Dr. Sleep.
Right. That's exactly right. That's what did me in with my sight damage years ago, 30 odd years ago. Yeah.
And that's and Bella says, buonasera, Franco e Antonio, and e tutti, and all, says Bella, the lovely Bella,
Wonderful.
a lovely Italian lady.
Wonderful.
And Snapey says, if it's open house at Christmas, there'll be about 11 Xmas Day. Hang on, what's that? About 11 Xmas Day, Frank. Not too much carbohydrates for me, though. There'll be about 1,000. I don't know, 1,100. God bless me. And Ali Danoush, good evening, says Ali.
Good evening, Ali.
Toscana. Buonasera, Franco and Anthony and Chatters.
Good evening, Toscana.
And Bella says, hope you get well soon, Franco. Thank you, Bella. Thank you. Owen Lee, evening Frank Anthony and chat.
Good evening, Owen.
And Ali says, look at the house behind Frank. That's a wreck, British house. A wreck. I can't wear my reading glasses, but anyway, I'll do my best. That house behind Frank looks like a reek British house, like
Aye.
I used to see in films when I was a kid. But what it is, Ali, it's Sherlock Holmes's home. It's his living room. It's his living room.
Where's your violin? Oh, do you want to borrow a guitar? Put one of them by the fire.
It's the violin there, look. See?
Oh, all right. Well, I say no more. Yeah.
The violin is there. Real sorry, I know it's only imagine. Of course, Ali. Of course. And,
touch of the old Scottish language there, Ali. No problems. We knew what you meant.
And Toscana says, I managed to watch Scrooge. Definitely worth watching the 1951 version in black and white. That's the Alistair Sim one, Toscana.
Oh, that's the one Lainey and I love. We absolutely love that one. And there's kind of a couple of movies, and TV was showing them all in October, November, and now the platforms, mainly the BBC and stuff, emptied them all off. They're all gone. But obviously, you still find them through YouTube and the like. If you
it's on YouTube, that Alistair Sim one. But so are other versions of Scrooge.
Yeah.
But I think it's really Alistair Sim. It's like Sherlock Holmes, isn't it? It's like Basil Rathbone playing Sherlock Holmes.
And Nigel Bruce played as Watson. Yeah. Just follow that. It's like that, isn't it? Follow that. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they didn't make hundreds of films, did they? They make something like 6 or 8 at most.
No, I think there's a bit more than that. Oh, look at this. I'm going all blurry again. But anyway, I think they made a bit more than that. Forget how many, but not many, because when they first started off, it was 1939.
Yeah.
And the Hounds of the Baskervilles, and war broke out. But it was made in America. I don't like anything about British, anything about Britain or England or whatever being made in America.
No, I'm not a fan.
See how phony it is. I was watching something, and I forget what it was, but you could see it's supposed to be in England, and it was supposed to be winter. And when the day they were filming, it was sunny. Now, this is Hollywood. This is California. But you could see the density of the sun shining and the shadows. You see, and it was supposed to be winter.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. That's why it's so phony. And you get these people, they all speak with like a Cockney accent, trying to take off an English accent. All right, there, Gav. All right, there, Gav.
Yeah.
There's nothing else.
Yeah.
There's nothing else. They can't do anything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hate that. Hate it. Yeah.
And Ali says, can we turn back the time and go back to 30 years ago?
Yeah,
Wish we could. Wish we could.
we do every history show. We do, yeah, yeah. Stick with us, Abby, we will.
If we could turn back, you'd see Anthony with different coloured hair. You'd see me with different coloured hair
Dark
and
blue.
wearing no glasses. That's what you'd see if we were 30 years back.
Yeah, wow.
And Toscana says, yes, great acting by Alistair Sim, and I recognise a few actors, notably George Cole. Yeah, there's lots of stalwart actors in that particular
Yeah,
film version. And George Cole was only starting well. He was a boy actor
yeah.
from wartime, and then he was just coming into adulthood, and he played a young Scrooge in the
We
film.
did. And the wonderful thing, the humane thing about that is that Alistair Sim took him under his wing, didn't he? George Cole. And he kind of not guided his career, but certainly helped him. I think Alistair Sim would spend a lot of time with George Cole and vice versa. George Cole would spend a lot of time with him and teaching the craft.
But
It's,
yeah, because they did a few films together after that, which was Saint Trinians.
I remember them well, yeah, yeah,
He always plays a spiv, George Cole, in the Saint Trinians franchise.
yeah. And he's playing this Biv character, isn't he?
Yeah, he's played the spiv, whereas Sim, he played the headmistress.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
couldn't get dressed up as a woman. If I was an actor of a sort, and he says, we want, I'd have just said no. I'd have
Maybe
just,
maybe in our dark haired days we might have got away with it.
yeah,
Not now.
no.
I was reminded of a wonderful story I read years ago when I was fanatically reading everything. And I read a few biographies on Stan Laurel, who I adored as a kid, still do now. And this week gone, I think we saw the 100th birthday of the American actor Dick Van Dyke. When Stan Laurel was in older years, he had a flat, lived in an apartment, and he was in a telephone book, like all of us, you know, Anthony Wayne Brown or whatever. There's the address, there's the phone number. And Dick Van Dyke, who was a young wannabe actor, found his number and phoned him up. And Stan Laurel was the most given. Reminds me totally of the story we just said then about Alistair Sim and George Cole. He gave him, because he knew that this kid was sincere about his wanting to do good work. He gave him so much, and they became friends. And I thought, I always loved that story. That's like, I mean, most of that's gone these days. Unless you have a chance meeting with people, as we've been lucky enough in our, life to meet some of these people.
Yes, absolutely.
Wouldn't get near them.
No. And actually says, my granddad used to have a beer with the actor James Mason in World War II.
Brilliant
That was
actor.
Liverpool, Frank.
Yeah, very. He had a real sinister air about him, didn't he?
Mason, he's a brilliant actor, a very distinctive voice.
Yes.
Yeah, he always plays a sinister type person.
Yeah,
Always.
that depth in him. That if he walked in and moved a chair, you'd think, oh, what's he up to? What's he up to? Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
And
love
I
James.
think a great film was what he was in was North by Northwest.
Yes.
James Mason with
I
Cary
remember
Grant.
the
Cary
old
Grant the
black,
coward. Cary Grant the coward. Big
the old
coward then.
classic black and whites, like Gaslight, stuff like
Yeah,
that, that he was in as well.
yeah, yeah. Everything changed in a bad way, says Ali. And what I see, with every year on, Wales is going down more, more. Absolutely, bang on, 100%, Ali. It's so right, it is. So we know, rather than get into it, we know who to blame for all this.
Yes.
You know, there'll never be any peace while there's two certain countries, unfortunately. Never be peace. But that's for another night. That's for not
Yeah.
tonight. I just want to go back a lot further than 30 years, says Toscana. And Bella says, me too.
Oh,
And Ali says, Toscana, I'm 40. 30 for me is enough, but I know what you mean. Snapey says, I tried dressing up as a woman once. I looked like a stunt double for RuPaul. Psychological ramifications haunt me to this day, Frank. Dangerously
oh,
disturbing. Yeah, see? Imagine Snapey is dressed as a woman. And actually says, I'd like to go back 50 years. Far better England. Yeah, well, we're a lost island now. Got to thank the politicians. Yeah, of course you have. The 50s, again, that's history. The 50s were the most, albeit that, we had the Suez Crisis and we had the Korean War. The 50s was such a, we used to call it the Ovaltine decade because there was hardly anything. People just got on with their lives. They were rebuilding themselves. They're rebuilding the country after the Second World War. So people were in work. People were getting married, having families. It was so serene, as they say. Then after that, the 60s came and it was great. The Mersey Beat era, everybody, the older country, everybody seemed to be singing, bands, everything. And then all of a sudden, you had all the demonstrations in America where the Vietnam War that went on for years.
yeah.
And it hasn't stopped since. It just hasn't stopped. Then we had the Northern Ireland problems in '69 that lasted years. So, nothing stopped. Nothing has stopped. Believe it or not, but that's. And as you said, James Mason played Rommel as well. He did. He was a good Rommel. He was. My country, Romania, was such a great country long ago. Very respected before external forces destroyed it. Yes, that's right. That's right. Again, that's for another time, unfortunately. Because, we do history, obviously, but when there's current affairs, when there's current issues regarding countries and what's going on, they're there for Friday nights, unfortunately. But you're right about Romania, Ali, being a beautiful country. It's still a beautiful country today. It really is. But, you've got now you've got the EU meddling in their sovereignty. Well, it's been proved with Georgescu and Simoni. So, again, that's for a Friday night. And Bella says, actually, you're right. It was better. It was a better England then. We can always have a better, but can anyone imagine a bloke dressed as a woman in the 70s? Oh my God, wakey, wakey. When men were men, God help us.
Yeah,
We're only talking about, yeah, I
every
am.
Friday and Saturday night on TV. To be loads of them, from Danny LaRue onwards.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
obviously talking politically,
But it's so changed today, hasn't it? With woke.
do you know
It
what?
has
Yeah,
changed.
it is. I think personally a big problem is that we are now aware of the propaganda, the lies. We see through that. Whereas in the days, I think the line is ignorance is bliss. When we were
Ignorance
kids,
is bliss. Yes. Remember when we were talking about the ignorance and being bliss because of what we know?
yes,
And I wish sometimes I've said, and you know this because I have spoken to you about this. I've said, I just wish I didn't know what I do know.
yeah,
And you mentioned before about propaganda. Now, propaganda, we read a lot of books, we read literature, we read the classics, we read everything, even visionaries, we read, some wonderful visionaries, as you know. And then it's so dramatically changed. You've only got to see Dickens. Now, Dickens, he wrote about, well, he was a social commentator, what was happening
yes,
in the country, albeit the stories were fantastic. Best descriptive writing that you'll ever read, the descriptive writing. Then you've got the others that come about. You've got Shakespeare. Now Shakespeare, his time, people people don't realise the hard times around Shakespeare. They just look at it, his wonderful plays, but his plays all have messages. And what was going on at the time, they say about Elizabeth I, great queen, so she was wonderful and all this. But people, the underbelly of that, and it's well documented, but it's always like pushed down. And that was the purge against different religions.
yeah,
And they were being executed left, right, and centre.
yeah.
It was shocking what was going on in England at the time. Really bad, really bad. And say like you were a priest or whatever. Uh, you and I, you or I, could kill a priest and get rewarded because he was a priest. And that's what was going on at the time.
Yeah.
And people don't realise this. What's it? Good Queen Bess. Good Queen Bess. Yet they don't realise what was happening.
No.
Shakespeare tried to tell the people in his plays,
Yeah,
which we know today, if you know what I mean. And
yeah,
as he said, what a wicked time we live in as idiots are governing the blind.
yeah. which
We've
again we argue is the same parallel as today. And again, going back to Elizabeth and before her and after her, these people are surrounded by spin doctors, if that's a polite way of calling them, and rewriting history as we went. And if you or I dare stood up and do what we're doing now, then we, we, we're gone. You'd be gone. As a historian, what's your take on this, Frank?
Well, if you speak out today, this is how bad it's gone. You could be put in jail for your opinion.
Yes.
Now, only last year or the year before, I was saying the way it's going, even thoughts could put you in jail. A thought. And that's the way it's going. There's a fella named Soros, and I seen him in an interview a month or two ago. And he says, we're going to inject people. And in that injection will be a little, I don't know, whatever it is. And it can control you. Oh, what was it? What did he say? What did he say? But it's about control. And this is what he was saying in an interview. So you never know what these COVID injections are. And people do get injected. They have to be injected. So these little chips that could be injected into you, that's your control. So with the technology that they have today, they could even control thought, if you know what I mean. In other words, we could become robots. I know it sounds far-fetched, but nothing is far-fetched in today's world. Nothing at all.
It's not. Because what you're describing in essence is what was going on in Elizabethan times.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
yeah,
we think we're so classless and free.
See, you go back to, as you said there, Elizabethan times, and you go back to Shakespeare, and as he said, about the era, and it's a terrible era, and people are being governed by idiots. To the blind, and we're the blind, because we have to accept everything that we're told to do.
Yeah.
And it goes right up. It goes right up to Dickens. It goes to William Blake.
Yeah.
William Blake. His poem, I'll just say the two lines. My mother groaned, my father wept. Into the dangerous world I leapt. The story is about the little baby being born. And his mother, the mother was groaning. The father was weeping. The mother wasn't just groaning, for the childbirth. She was moaning because she was actually giving birth to a little child, as the father was weeping because that child was going into a dangerous world. My mother groaned, my father wept. Into the dangerous world I leapt. Because this is 1794.
Yeah.
And Blake was telling, in his poems about the dangerous world that we're actually living in.
Yes.
Constant wars, constant fighting, constant poverty, constant disease, constant everything. Constant everything. And it was a dangerous world. Now, are we still living in a dangerous world? Of course we are.
Yes. Yes, we are. You worry for your children, your grandchildren, because you don't want to lose them through some senseless warfare which is going on.
Yeah. Ali says, I wait till you come home and visit Romania, especially the middle of it. We have very old Christian churches in every village or city. Most of them are older than 500 years. Old time castles, they are. Says
Beautiful.
Ali, castles.
Sounds beautiful.
We're all, we're all socially engineered. It's become a joke. They're laughing at us. Unbelievable, says Archie. Yeah, can't argue with that.
No.
And Ali says, you know, Franco, when I grow up, when I grew up, I used to watch English films, real British films. The culture, everything was different. And I can't understand why our leaders are trying their best to destroy it. It's sad. But they have the, culture.
It's done it. It's dumbed it down. It's the lowest it's ever been, ever. Where we're told now this is cultural, and it's a piece of crap that years ago would not even get airtime or 2 inches in a paper. We have dumbed down so much. It's hard to see what's real and what's a joke.
Well, Christopher says, everyone I know said the 50s were rubbish. Foods was rubbish. Rations were still on. And there was no rock and roll till 56. The best time to be is at the cutting edge of time. The 50s, yeah, the rations were still going on until the 1954. See, don't forget, Christopher, that we just come out of a war and we were trying to rebuild. But I'm talking about family life. I'm talking about family life, rebuilding the families. And then there was no wars, albeit that they had a Suez crisis, albeit that the Korean War was going on. It
That's
was
right.
the decade of peace, believe it or not. So whoever, people well, that's fine. But historically, it was the best decade. The best decade. You can go through every decade and there's always been a war where we're involved. I used to go with me Auntie Mary and she said, come on, Francis, do you want to come with me for rations? Never forget that, me Auntie Mary. And she used to go and, a big army bag and done her rations. And I was a little lad. And that bag was chock-a-block. Chock-a-block. So it must have been after 54 when the rations became. See, I think your people, whoever told you that, that's fine. Everybody has their opinion. But you had the likes of Spivs, and people say, oh, them Spivs, Spivs got you everything. If you wanted it, as long as you could pay for it, you got it. Anything at all. Anything. From a leg of lamb to, a bottle of scotch. And you've only got to think as well, Christopher, about the rations. Does any elite go without? No elite went without. No elite. If you, living in, say, like a nice little middle class household, you had your food on the table every night. Food wasn't scarce to them, and that's strange. And that, you see, is when our society switches, and it will be a lot of the younger generation are in for a big shock. Forget the dresses and hormone replacement. When that happens, yeah. See, again, what you've got today, and you should know this, Andy, because we see it every day, is these plastic surgeons and people trying to change their image.
Constant.
If you can afford it, you can have a whole body replacement, especially the face. Um, I don't know whether that's right or wrong. I think plastic surgery should be done if you're badly scarred after an accident. Yes,
Yeah,
that's fine.
yeah.
But you know,
Totally,
those jobs. Go ahead.
totally agree, Frank. And again, it goes back to one of my favorite quotes from our hero, Mr. Oscar Wilde, when he says, "In life, be yourself, because everyone else is taken.
Yep.
We're meant to be different, you know."
See, look, plastic surgery can change your outlook, and I'm talking about. Listen, I look at too much of it on. I stream a lot of things, and I'm seeing these people who change and all the stuff doing. Anthony is doing this, with the phone, and they're like that, and as they're like that, they're talking on social media, and they're
Yeah,
doing all this.
yeah.
But those people who are doing this ends up dead.
There's
The men,
somebody's daughter, yeah, somebody's daughter, somebody's son. We love them for what they are, and then it's we've talked often about the fakery of life, and people pretend to be um, up there on the, I'm a CEO, I'm a whatever. We live in for a long time. We've lived in um, ages where people want to be seen as something special, but they don't want to do anything to deserve that. They don't want to write a book, run a race, design a car, um, write a book, paint a picture. They just want some sort of accolade in life, and it's now got totally out of hand. I think, um, and social media, I think, and I'm no psychiatrist, but is been the biggest damage of that, because it gives a free platform to people to say, "Look how great I am," you know.
that's true. That's true. Look how great I am, and this is all the modern stuff. I was looking at something, and it was a fella. Well, just listen to this. It was a murder case, and I watch all this stuff, and it wasn't an interrogation. He came in as a witness, and he's sitting there. Detectives are talking to him, and he said, "Okay, you'll have to go back to jail. Thanks, we'll see what we can do about your sentence, to get it reduced." And he goes back to a woman's jail. He's a transgender. These are the things that get me. These are the things that get me. And it's so woke, it's incredible. And it's gone into films now. And that's why I will not watch these films. And I always remember what Clint Eastwood said a couple of years ago. He said, reading these scripts, he said, I feel sorry for the young actors today. meaning this is what they've got to put up with. That's why I won't watch any woke films.
I can, aside from the woke films, I can totally understand where that comes from, because I've been watching it, you've been watching it, and nowadays you can't get away from social media. You pick up your phone to phone the doctors or whatever, and everything is done through an internet access. So we see these things, and that's my belief before, is that everything we knew as of value, culturally, educational, is dumbed down to the bottom of a bucket with some very unsavory stuff in there, and there's no way back from that, because at the moment the powers that be are making money. They're making money on the backs of kids, young adults who use their products.
Of course, but you also have people who make a hell of a lot more on wars, unfortunately.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
You get the military complexes who are making a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah.
And this is where you see the corruption within politicians and politics.
Yes.
You look at everyone, they say they're corrupt, they're corrupt, they're corrupt.
Yeah.
They're corrupt because they're taking bribes.
Yes.
I know that for a fact, they're taking bribes.
Yeah.
And each leader now today, and I'm talking about Europe, which I don't want to go into, they're all corrupt. They're all puppets, every single one of them.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. The puppets, so how would they become puppets? Because they're being bribed.
The money.
So they become the puppet then.
Yeah, they do.
Of regimes. Let's see. We live in an electronic dictatorship with a corrupt police force who don't know whether their backsides are punched, bored, or countersunk. I'll have to get me glasses after the can't read this. Digital IDs set a dangerous precedent if it's implemented. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's implemented. It's not our choice, really. And Orwell told us this in 1949, 1950.
Yeah, look what Ali says there. Money destroying everything. Of course it is. That's a very good point, Ali.
So
really
right.
Good point.
Yeah.
The Tavistock Institute, social engineering, says they. I'll just say these two. I want to say about me. Hang on, just say this. Bill Haley and his Comets gave us rock and roll. We got Cliffy Pilchard in the shadows with Move It. God help us with the mistletoe and wine this Christmas. I watched AI Image today on YouTube bringing old Liverpool photos back to life. The windmills in London Road, the town hall. I seen it. I watched it, Neil. Absolutely brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant the way they did it. With all this AI, how long do you think we are from doing away with schools and higher education, universities, etc.?
Well, it depends.
Go on, Anthony. Sorry.
just going to be a bit blunt and say it depends which part of the country you're born in. Really.
But do you think, the way the control is, see, I'm getting into the realms of politics. I didn't want to do that tonight. The way we're being controlled, and we are being controlled.
Yeah.
Who was it said the rich always want an abundance of the poor? Who was it? I forget who said it. Was it Dostoevsky or someone said that? Was it Mark Twain? I'm not quite so sure.
Well, Dostoevsky sounds familiar, but yeah, the rich will always. Yeah, and you're exactly right, Frank. And guys, with the AI, which is propaganda. There's so much of it. You bring things back from death, and you're playing a game with it. And then what do people do? They say, "Oh no, Shankly never said that. He said this." No, he didn't. But someone puts it out.
Yeah.
And
if you can't support us when we lose, don't support us at all. He never ever said that. And this is the problem with people. If they've got nothing to say, they can't back up anything they come out and say. So what they do, they just throw up. If you're talking football, that is. I don't want to tell football tonight, by the way. And they just throw that. It's only an example of what you said. They always throw that quote up because they've got nothing to say. They just throw that up. Yeah, of course it's propaganda. Yeah. And he never said it.
That's how the AI kicks in with stuff. Well, here's the image to prove it. Well, that image didn't exist. I know we dearly salute our Jason for honing and tracking down some truly historic images. And nowadays that's got 10, 20, 30 times harder because people feel it's great to AI things that didn't happen or didn't exist, whether it be buildings or quotes. So your mind boggles at what young students are going to learn.
Yep, they're going to learn AI. But anyway, we'll go to our break. At least I can make a cup of tea.
Say this city's name almost anywhere in the world and people will recognise it. Whether that's for its football,
Fabinho's got some space, he's got three up there with him and he squeezes it through the legs!
Its rich history or the music that was born here. Because as British cities go, few are more iconic than Liverpool.
The friendliness of people here has really taken me aback.
From the welcoming nature of the people here to their unique accents, Liverpool feels different. Some Scousers, as people from Liverpool are called, think of it a bit like a city-state, separate from the rest of the country. And many don't identify with England at all, displaying banners like Scouse Not English. Liverpool fans have even been known to boo the British national anthem at football games. So what's this divide all about, and why has Liverpool ended up so different from the rest of the country? We were here to find out. Of all the cities in England, Liverpool in particular is known for doing things its own way. There's even a unique name for people from Liverpool. Scousers or Scouse. Why? Well, the story begins with whalers, who came to Liverpool in the 17 and 1800s.
So the only people who could do whaling around Europe were the Norwegians. So we sent for a crew of Norwegian sailors to come over and go to the Arctic. Obviously there was Liverpool crew as well, and they joined the ships as well. And these lads, to keep warm, they had their own meal, and they used to have a fire, and they used to put meat, they used to put potatoes, they used to put carrots, and it was called lobscouse. So the Liverpool lads, when everything dies down and they joined other ships, and they started to make this lobscouse, just like the Norwegians did. So when people from around the world met sailors, they said, "Where are you from?" And they said, "Liverpool." They go, Scouse.
Back then, Liverpool was a booming trading port. So important that it was sometimes referred to as the New York of Europe.
When you look back, Liverpool, it was incredible. It was an incredible port with lots of activity. Liverpool was known as the second city of the empire, obviously behind the capital London, because of the trade. There was immense trade, and it was incredible.
The bustling docks produced the unique Scouse accent you'll hear if you visit today. It's unlike any other in the UK, and was a result of the melting pot that this city became, where people from all over the world with different ways of speaking mixed together. And it's most influenced by Irish, Welsh, and Norwegian immigrants. Nowadays, though, Liverpool has an unfair but pretty bad reputation, and people often joke about it being a lawless and dirty city.
Watch your bags. Don't go to Liverpool and steal your hubcaps or your wheels or whatever. And this is the way Liverpool are portrayed. Unfortunately, Scousers. Why are you going to Liverpool? You end up being beaten up and you're being burgled and being... They always get looked down upon. Always get looked down upon by the press, the English press, unfortunately. For some reason, we don't know. You know, we're looked at down the noses, you know, especially accents.
Frank often has to battle people's preconceptions about him that are based purely on the way he speaks and where he's from.
When I tell them I'm a lecturer, they don't believe me, simply because of my accent. It's gone now that it's water off a duck's back to me. It's the way it is. It's just the way people perceive Liverpool. Liverpool's got a terrible image, even today.
In reality, the problems that any major city faces, crime, litter, and so on, are no worse here than anywhere else. So how did Liverpool go from being the second city of the British Empire to one that has so often been looked down upon by other parts of Britain, where so many of its residents feel Scouse rather than English? Well, Liverpool has always been a bit independent. Part of that can be put down to immigration, particularly from Ireland following the Irish famines in the 17 and 1800s, which really changed the demographics here. At one point in the 1950s, a quarter of Liverpool's population was Irish-born. It also has such a large Welsh population that it's sometimes jokingly called the capital of North Wales. All these people from different places, some with less than stellar opinions of the rest of England because of tension between the English and Irish and Welsh, gave the city a distinct sense of self. But it was the 1900s that really drove a wedge between Liverpool and the rest of England. And it began with a general strike.
So in 1911, there was a general strike here. They wanted decent wages. They wanted some sort of parity with other cities. They wanted to live a life rather than struggle. And that was a massive struggle that they had, and a massive struggle against the government, because the government at the time sent up 50,000 armed troops. They sent for 6,000 police from Birmingham and Leeds to take control, because the police here in Liverpool said, we can't fight against our own people. There were 2 dockers shot dead by troops everything had stopped. Everything, from the dock workers, they stopped. Everything, railway, everything was stopped. And Churchill, he actually sent up 2 frigates to turn its guns on the city, just in case. Because he said, we can't afford anarchy to spread out into the country. So we were on our own there, and unfortunately, it was squashed. Did the workers get anything? No. They never achieved much, unfortunately, during that particular strike. So it was over by September. The strike was over. That's it, Dad. I'd just come out of hospital, after my triple repair aneurysm.
Yes.
Because the lads wanted me to go around the city. I said, I can't walk. I said, I've just come out of hospital. Oh, sorry. He said, can we film in your house? I said, yes, sure, go ahead. So we filmed and we home.
That is a most wonderful documentary by a lovely guy, because I was proud to share a pod with you and him that you and Jason has arranged. But what a lovely guy, and what a massive subject that no one else had really put up there.
That's right. It's had to be said, because he knew about Liverpool, and he knew, what he was being fed, as he said, was all the negativity about the city. So we wanted to come in and make a documentary about the city. He wanted to get the feel of the city. And he was told to contact me, which was, I was very humbled. So we said, let's do it. And, I gave my best about the city. I gave my best about how the city performed, because I did tell him that Liverpool was not just like a port. It was a city of brilliant engineering, brilliant scientists, brilliant at everything, medicine, the old kit and caboodle. And we gave the world firsts. And people don't realise that. And this is what it was all about. So I thought he made it a very good documentary, about the city, a very positive documentary about the city. Not just because you see me sitting there talking, but you did see some positivity coming out of that particular.
Absolutely a wonderful, for the right reasons.
Yeah. Over a million people have seen this,
Yeah.
Over 1 million people.
Well, hopefully more now, because people are a chat family out there. You can still see this movie, this documentary, stunning documentary, on YouTube. It's called Scout, Not English.
Let's see what they've been saying. You've got Neil Broderick. It's the country who controls AI, like China. That's when it becomes dangerous.
Yeah.
Christopher says the main issue with AI is it's killing art and creativity and writing. It is ripping everyone off.
It is.
Snapey says Fyodor Dostoevsky, the wealthy are utterly dependent on the unlimited supply of the poor. Parasitical, perhaps, but it's the most damning indictment of society you'll ever digest. Was Dostoevsky who said it then?
Yeah.
And Paulie says, I chat. Good evening. Just switched on. What an amazing film to be met with. That's definitely Frank speaking.
Definitely.
And the Snape again. We boo the national anthem with every justification, deliberately inflicted socio-economic deprivation, including managed decline, is just one reason factor in Hillsborough, and it's justifiable. Spot on there, Snapey. Spot on, mate. I'm an import, and I'll state unequivocally, I'm as proud of living in Liverpool as anyone. Scousers are always ready to welcome outsiders. I attribute it to here having a migratory population over time. Brilliant. And there's the lovely Myra page. Hi, everyone. Hi, Myra. Really
Hi,
nice
Myra.
to see you, Myra. Really. I went that. I got into it. I don't know what it's all right. I went into a Blair. Into a Blair and saying I love somebody. But this is what we have.
Yeah.
You know, the likes of, we were talking about the way literature portrays life at the time, but it's also portrays, 200 years later. You got Dickens going back. It's incredible to the 1600s, 15 and 1600s. And it portrays life then to now. It's the way it is.
Yeah, you do. I think we've talked about this before with our pod family, and also many times privately. It's like that time of bravery, or those continual times of bravery, from Shakespeare to Blake, and then 50 or 60 years later, you've got Dickens, and you've got Charlotte Bronte around the same time as Dickens. In the mid to late 1800s, with poets and writers freely wanting to say, this is not right. So with that, the benefits of their genius, we are educated. But the only drawback is that we are now, hundreds of years later, some of them, and the powers that be won't let things change. It's not for you or I or our family to change things. It's leadership.
No. Sorry.
And they're inherently corrupt.
Fuck. I've got to move me chair. Got to get into focus.
In the focus, yeah.
I'm hiding the violin there. Look, I'm hiding the violin. Where am I? I'm hiding the violin.
We know you give a tune later. That's no problem.
Sherlock's violin. Yeah, it's one of those things that has become apparently true, where, like Dickens, you've only got to look at Charlotte Bronte and Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre wanted to educate kids.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing is there was no education whatsoever. This is why we lag behind. After starting the Industrial Revolution, we started to lag behind it simply because there was no education for the kids. And I'm talking about even, the elite were the only ones that were educated. The elite.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to go into engineering or anything like that. They just didn't. They just wanted to sit back and enjoy the comforts of farming. What I mean by farming, they're not going out with a plough. It's the workers are going out with a plough, but they reap all the benefits, and it's as simple as any other industrial thing. So that's why we like behind.
Yeah. That's absolutely right. And then you have awesome people who do. It looks like nothing really. You look back in history, but people who establish schools for young girls, for young children, for people to get an education, and on it goes.
We have the Anfield Road. Good evening, Frankie and Anthony. Look at all those scotches for you.
Anfield Road, you are my best friend. I've always said that, haven't I?
Silhouette Frankie is back again. Your camera is like looking out of a cafe window with condensation on it, lad.
Yeah.
How many times? That's a cracker, that, How many times have you sat in a cafe? It's cold outside and inside.
Yeah.
It's all the warmth, isn't it? Then the condensation goes up on the cafe window, and he's so right. He's so right.
See?
Clever as well. We've got all the clever people on tonight.
Thank you, Ro.
And Myra says, Frank, I know it's difficult to make an underscore on the phone. Just say, hi, Myra, and I will pick it up. Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that, Myra. Honestly, sweetheart, I didn't know that. But I will do in the future. I really will do. She must have one of these phones that, you can only say, hello, and she'll pick it up instead of ringing. So, yes, Myra.
It's
I'll
like
definitely do that.
I don't know all the hieroglyphics that go with language. I can't do that on the phone.
No.
You in, Frank? I can do all that stuff, but when it comes to hieroglyphics, it goes.
The Snape says, those who berate Liverpool just recite a regurgitated diatribe from a skewed narrative. Odd, isn't it? That when they come here as visitors, it bears no resemblance to what they've been told. I'll say something now. I was in a queue. I've been to Rome. Funny enough, someone said to me, Rome the back of your hand. You want to come here and you want to live here and show people around, Well, that was a great compliment, to be honest. What I'm saying is, I never ever went into the Colosseum. I used to just go up to the Colosseum and touch it. That was my thing anyway. So anyway, you've got to go in. So I said, okay. So I went into the Colosseum. Now, as I was in the queue, I hate standing in queues. So as I was in the queue, I heard about 4 people up. I heard one couple talking to another couple. And this couple were from Sweden. And they were talking to a couple from, believe it or not, Winchester. And they were mentioning the UK, and they said, oh, we love Liverpool. Liverpool is a fantastic place. Now, this is the Swedish couple saying this. And, and they mentioned the architecture, they mentioned the people, just like what Snapey said there. They mentioned the people, they were mentioning everything. And this Winchester couple said, oh, we've never been there. We don't go north. The only time we ever went north was in a plane up to Scotland to go to a wedding. So anyway, this Swedish couple said, you have to go to Liverpool because they have buildings that you might as well say you're in Rome. Old Rome, they said, old Rome. And I went up and I said, excuse me, I said, I'm from Liverpool. So I never had a card or anything on me. I'm on holiday. So I wrote down my number and I gave them to this Winchester couple. And I said, if you ever visit Liverpool, just ring me up. Because I told them who I was. So anyway, a few weeks later, a couple of months later, I get a phone call at 6:30 in the morning. And it was this couple that they just got into Liverpool. They were coming into Liverpool. And they said, remember us? We were in there. I said, oh, yeah. No. I said, I'll see you around 10 o'clock. Told them where I'd be or where they should be. And I brought them around. They were there for the day. That's why they got an early train, to get into Liverpool for 7 o'clock. So anyway, I brought them around and they couldn't believe it. They could not believe Liverpool. They could not believe the history of Liverpool. They could not believe the Georgian buildings. They couldn't believe the neoclassical stuff. And they said, when we stepped off the train in Lime Street, when we come out of Lime Street station, she said, she said, what was the lady said? I said, St. George's. She said, I couldn't believe it. And then anyway, I took them all around, took them inside St. George's Hall, took them inside the town hall, took them all around. And I even brought them to Matthew Street, where the cavern, the cavern. And they couldn't believe it. But what they couldn't believe was the friendliness of the people. And also the dockside, where the Liver, the Cunards, and the Port of Liverpool is, and the Albert Dock. Yeah. They couldn't believe that. And one special thing, Anthony, was the cleanliness of Liverpool. And I was delighted with that,
That's fantastic, yeah.
It's only what Snapey says that people, they've never been here who can...
It's they believe the stereotypes and, the TV garbage that goes out.
It's garbage, isn't it?
Yes.
Field Ross says, I love this show. Brilliant evening with Frankie and Anthony. Two of the city's greats, says the Anfield Row.
Anfield, thank you. You're welcome on our park bench anytime we get chucked off.
And Snaky, and Myla Page. You can come all the way from South Africa. And lovely Bella and Toscana. Could you imagine us sitting on the park bench?
Oh, couple of bags of chips, yes. Heaven.
Yeah, look at that. The Anfield. Frankie, your background is original Sherlock Holmes, and Anthony's background is Dr. Watson's.
That's close. We'll go for that. Yeah, I will take that. Thank you, Anfield. Yeah, I'm happy to be Watson.
Anfield, sadly, it's interrupted by an illiterate over the hill, Woollyback. You're not illiterate there. You're a dictionary corner. Never say that. Never ever say that. Oh. Do you know? I've got to say this. This is, the way we are. See the chatters on there now.
Yeah.
From Myra Page down in South Africa to across Europe to Romania.
Yeah.
You see, yeah, and these lovely people on here are Italian girls. I'm not saying it like it's international. Well, it is international when you put it like that. But what I'm trying to say is, you get these people who embrace history, who embrace literature, who embrace what's going on today. That's what it's all about, who embrace it. And they can see the cracks in corruption.
Yes.
They can see what the literature people did from Shakespeare up to Dickens, what they was saying. They can see what the visionaries, as in H.G. Wells, you know, Da Vinci.
Yeah.
Da Vinci, he's an artist, and yet he had visions of what the future held.
Yeah.
And no matter what, you know, and he was an artist. I just love everything about, you know, Christopher mentions about culture. Culture could be dying.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you've got the likes of Anthony, for example, who keeps culture going. You've got other people who keeps culture going. You see, look, Snapey mentioned Dostoevsky and the abundance of the poor for the rich, right? Smashing that. That's culture. That's culture. I could go on to another thing about people trying to destroy Russian culture. Russian culture brought out ballet, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Ballet. And
some of the greatest classical music ever. Russian composers. Beautiful.
And writers.
Yeah.
And writers.
You know,
we talk about our own writers, our own poets, our own prose writers. And yet you have great Russian writers, and they're trying to destroy it. The West is trying to destroy it for some reason. Well, the Russophobes. But what you've got also, Anthony, with culture, I'm not just talking about Russian culture. You have the culture here. You have the culture that the likes of Shakespeare, there's no one in the world compares with Shakespeare. And the only the only person on par with Shakespeare comes from the 19th century, and that's Dickens.
yes.
The two of them are like that. They're so level in what they were saying and what they were writing about. And it's fun. But people forget about the ladies. We love, don't we? We love that wonderful woman by the name of Mary Wollstonecraft.
Absolutely. And her immensely talented daughter, who sadly never knew her mum. You know, there's all of that. And when you this is the beauty of history for me, as well as your friend and colleague, but also as a student. I am happy with the label forever student, because I love learning. But who'd have thought that Mary Wollstonecraft, with her so-called at the time outrageous statements, would be supported and gain an illustrator at the level of the great William Blake?
Oh, no.
And then her daughter, who we both admire, is Mary Shelley. What? The first... Did I say right by saying the first footsteps into science fiction was Mary Shelley? And then
Yeah, fair science fiction. Fair science fiction. Bella says, Franco and Antonio, I got to go to the nurse. Said, need the rest. The show, great. Thank you, everyone. Good night, Bella. We'll see you very soon, eh?
Bella.
You just get better and,
Full strength.
yeah. That comes from Anthony and myself and all the chat.
And Jason.
And Jason, absolutely. Frankie, I'm only across from you over the docks, lad. And we still haven't bumped into each other.
Oh,
Damn, whereabouts? Whereabouts? You have to let me know.
on the Birkenhead side.
I'd like to make a mention to all those who lost their lives on the farm. Rest in peace, poor people, and hope all of this hate will stop. It'll never stop.
It never stopped because they keep stoking that fire. And the only way it'll stop is to stop the politicians and those that stoke the fire.
They stoke the fire, don't they?
They do.
They do.
And we watched them doing it, and you think, shut up, why are you saying that? What are you doing? Just, there can't be peace if someone's saying, Frankie, that guy next door, he's going to rob your wallet, he's going to do that, he's going to damage your car, he's going to... Just don't. No, don't do it. We started out tonight's program, which is I think something that we all aspire to, is that togetherness. And certainly at Christmas time, well, I've got no war with anyone. No war with anyone. Not Russia, not whatever. I have a non-forgiveness for repetitive lies and corruption. But, I'm not going to take it out on someone else because of a politician.
Do you know what I'm doing this year? It's the first time in 2 years. I'm actually taking Francine out Christmas Eve. I said to her, I'm going to take you out. And she said, yeah, because she asked me but I'm going to make the effort to take it out. Because it was always a tradition. Tchaikovsky, if his music doesn't make people think on the reasons he wrote it, then they'll never have a grasp of humanitarianism, literature, art. Music affords us a vantage point. We should see. You've always said that, you and I, haven't we?
Yeah.
Anthony.
And how inspirational. That's why I'm painting these people. Because we are inspired by these people, wonderful people.
Oh, Myra. Frank TW sends us, he'll try and make it to one of your shows. Thank you, Myra, and thank you for getting in touch with him as well. DW, say Myra, DW, we all met on a sort of great, say we watched the alternative news.
Yeah.
You know the way Tolstoy said, history would be a wonderful thing if it was true, because of the propaganda and the untruths. Well, Myra and DW, we all met on this particular forum that was given out, and it's smashing. We've stayed friends ever since.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because all as we do is seek the truth.
Yes.
The truth in everything. getting rid. You mentioned before propaganda, and this is all that we're fed. Unfortunately, is propaganda. Now, propaganda, they call it. It's a nice word to say, propaganda, but it should be shortened to lies.
Yes.
That's what it is. It's just lies. It's not like propaganda. It's lies and spin. That's all it is. They spin the truth,
Yeah.
and the truth is what we try to say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do remember you talking fondly of the 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 team that you were talking to at the time, because you'd come on here on a pod and say you had a powerful involvement with and truth is the bottom line, and that's what we all look for. And there is a point, and I understand it. There is a point, and you mentioned it tonight again, that when you know something, and the circle of people you're with won't see or listen to that because it's not comfortable to know that, then there is an offshoot. There is an offshoot, which is that you tend to be quiet a lot of the time in certain company. I'm quiet, and then you meet someone and you think they know what I know, which is not much, but it's the freedom of truth. It's quite liberating, isn't it?
The freedom of truth. It's like, do you know what it's like, Anthony? May sound strange, this, but it's like going to confession.
Yes.
And when you confess your sins and you come out and you feel good,
Feel,
that's what it's like, when you express the truth and everything.
yeah,
Because I don't like, as you call it, propaganda. I don't like that at all. Simply because you're not hearing the truth. And again, I go back to the Leo Tolstoy when he said history would be a wonderful thing if it was true, because you're not being told the truth
yeah,
about it. And that's the way it is. And the answer, I must say, was a little confused at the historic programme coming out on Mozart. It would seem Sky Atlantic assumed Mozart was black. They have him confused with Joseph Bologne, known as Black Mozart, as the Black Mozart. Yes, Mozart was he was Caucasian, undoubtedly. See, that's what you call. I don't think that they were. I'm sorry to say this, Anfield, but it's wokeness. That's the thing. It's like Anne Boleyn. The BBC portrays Anne Boleyn in an historical thing, historical play as a black girl. Anne Boleyn was not black. Anne Boleyn was not black, and that's the sad thing. If she was black, then you might as well say Elizabeth was, of mixed race, and she wasn't. It's so pathetic the way people try to spin things, and that's the way it's going now. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. And the Amphitheatre says, "Put out the flames." I mean, you, We can't put out the flames because the flames are always there. Every time you try to put out a flame, someone will throw, uh, you know, say like a can of petrol on the flame and make it go higher. This is the way it is. This is the way it is. No matter what we say, look, the way society is, politicians, they're always being liars. They go in, they come to your door, knock on the door and say, I'm going to do everything in my power for you. You will be better off if you vote for me. I'll guarantee you that. That's a big lie. They just want your vote. And that's what they've been doing since time immemorial. So it's just a matter of who do you believe? Who do you believe? I don't believe in any politician. Not now. Because last year, well, this year when we had the election, excuse me, when we had the elections, it was the very first, well, last year, wasn't it? It was the very first time that myself, as an 18-year-old, first-time voter, I never voted. First time. Because I've looked at all the politicians, I've looked at their manifestos, I've looked at everything. And they're all, every single one. There's no truth. That's what I've got it. Mr. Trump got it. The idea of bringing peace to the world, and everybody believed. I even believed him. I believed him. I said, this fella's going to bring peace to the world. And he could easily have done it. But he hasn't. He's escalated wars. He wants to take over Latin America. He's still escalating, believe it or not. He's saying about Ukraine, Russia. He's still escalating it. He could easily stop that. All he's got to do is bring his troops out. Because there's American troops there. He's only got to say to NATO, get out now. And stop all the satellite images given to NATO. And the satellite images, they're fighting NATO, to be honest. That's what they're doing. There's no Ukrainian soldiers. They're all dead, them lads, unfortunately. And they're fighting NATO. There's British troops being captured and also killed. So where are they? And they're in British uniforms. You see, that's who they're fighting, Russia. It's just terrible with what's going on. And they're just fanning the flames. Fanning the flames. And Toscana says, it's his woe. We can embrace what people have done regardless of skin colour. But if it's got to be mentioned, then we need to say it as it is without being called a racist. Well, that's the problem we've got. Labels. There's so many labels today. It's incredible. And you just, boom. We mentioned a label before. It was about Bill Shankly and what he never said. Yeah. And with people, they've got nothing to say. They just hit you with the label. And if you say something, and they, oh, you're a racist. Now, I could be called a racist after what I'm saying about Mozart, and so could the Anfield Roar. What's racist about that? What's racist about Mozart being white and Anne Boleyn being white instead of black as the portrait? It's just ridiculous. And that's the way it is.
It is. It is. We have historical figures of all nationalities, you know, You don't need to play games with what is historical fact.
No. It's like this. I'm going to show you something, Anthony. And I have shown you this before. Many times. I'm going to show you something. Bear with me. A couple of things, actually. It's like the Irish. Believe it or not. The Irish.
Yes.
Do you ever remember the song? If you're Irish. Do you ever remember that?
Yeah.
There's a welcome place for you. I'll have to get my glasses. I won't be 1 second. Well, I will be more than 1 second because I can hardly walk. But bear with me, Anthony.
All right, Frank.
Bear with me, please.
Okay. Well, guys, it looks like we're going to get a song hour. If we can get a song out of Frank, that would be a great one. Brilliant way of starting Christmas. Might even get that violin off the wall.
Frank's back.
Frank's back.
I couldn't find my glasses. I couldn't find my glasses. Right, so remember the, the little Irish song? If you're Irish, step it, there's a welcome place for you, right?
Yeah.
How do you think the press in Liverpool viewed them? And politicians? How did they view the Irish?
Horrifically. Racially, absolutely barbaric.
Okay. Right, this is the Liverpool Mail in 1847. And this is when the Irish were coming into Liverpool. Right? After the 1845 famine that the English did deliberately.
Yeah.
By the way. Right. And what I've got here are actually things, attitudes towards the Irish by the Liverpool press. I'll just read you this. Just one. I'm going to read. The scum of Ireland come to Liverpool and die in their thousands is true. But whose fault is that? Misgovernment in Ireland, idleness on part of the peasantry, and ignorance and extravagance on part of the gentry. The people that come here are not labourers, they are beggars and paupers. They never were labourers. They never did an honest day's work in their lives. They lived by begging, and the Roman Catholic prelate regrets to say they cannot do now. For the potato crop has failed, and when they arrive here, begging is their profession, the workhouse their retreat, the fourpenny loaf per day a certainty, and medical aid, port wine soup, a coffin, and a Christian burial. Get on to this one. Now, this is these are politicians. Just raise only a little bit of this. A gulf certainly does appear to yawn between the gorilla and the Negro. The wilds of Africa do not exhibit an example of any intermediate animal, but a creature manifestly between the gorilla and the Negro is to be met with in some parts of London and Liverpool. It comes from Ireland.
Hate speech, absolute. As we talked before about fanning the fires of hatred, these absolute abysmal pieces of.
And that went on until the 21st century, right? And then I've got another thing here, nothing to do with the Irish, by the way. Zilch to do with the Irish.
The legs of man.
Yeah. Elizabeth I.
Yeah.
Elizabeth I, was she really a man?
No.
Now, why would that come out and say that? Because someone spoke the truth.
Well,
A fellow by the name of Christopher Hunt. He was an aristocrat, by the way. He wrote all about it. What about him? Yeah, look. This is from Jason. About 10 years ago, there was an episode of Urban Myths that was prevented from airing because Joseph Fiennes was cast as Michael Jackson. Myra's leaving us. Sleep well, everyone. Need to go. Myra, thanks for joining us. Thank you so much. Give DW and Mr. Argent my regards and Anthony's. Thank you so much.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Good night, Myra.
It's great, isn't it? You know, the way some people, like Jason there.
Yeah.
And Ali says, we cannot say anything anymore because we are racist, fascist, communist, etc., etc. Read you there. Don't know where that came from. But yeah, we are. We can't. And that's the problem that we have in society today. We can't say anything, but
No.
It's just a shame, you know, as Dickens, remember Dickens wrote about a little lad named Oliver Twist. And for people to read Oliver Twist, now don't forget as well, the likes of us, you know, you're talking mid-19th century, who never had an education, so therefore we couldn't read or write. So we wouldn't be able to read Oliver Twist. So to sell his periodicals and his books and that, he had to make Oliver Twist a little boy who came from a middle-class background. He was born from a middle-class background, you see. So middle-class people could read it, or will read it. That was to sell. what you've got also is Christmas Carol, for example.
Yeah.
Now, a Christmas Carol, what you've the characters in a Christmas Carol, you've got the miser, Mr. Scrooge. You have his nephew. Now, he didn't live in poverty, did he? He was middle class. You also had Bob Cratchit. He was middle class. He was a clerk.
Educated.
Right? So this is what you have. But he also made the point of miser people who made other people, how can I say this? Let's take his nephew, for example, Fred. And he didn't want Fred to marry below him, a girl. But he said, I love her. I want to marry her. So he discarded him. He just like ostracized him. That was it. Now this is where the likes of Scrooge becomes isolated, because he had no friends. He never had a friend in his life. The only other friends he had died, and that was Marley.
Yeah.
So he had no other friends. He had no family. The only family he had was his nephew Fred. So he ostracized him. And he also blamed him for the death of who he adored his sister. He loved his sister. But she died giving birth to Fred. So this is the story that you have.
Yeah.
But the underlying theme was poverty.
Yeah.
Poverty. This is what you see in every story Dickens writes about. The poverty of man and the greed of others. So the greed of Mr. Scrooge was portrayed. Yet it was the middle classes, his immediate people around him, the middle classes, the likes of the Cratchits, the likes of Fred, were being there's no words I can describe it. They were being left out. How can I say this? Fred was middle class. It's as simple as that. And so was Cratchit. Now, the way he treated his clerk, a goods worker, a hard worker, trying to keep his family of 4 kids, and his wife going on a pittance. But he was always there. And he always asked for Christmas Day off. Now, we work 365 days a year. That's how it was portrayed. Oh, you want a day off, do you? Okay, yeah, you know it. But be here early, the next morning. Okay, I will. That was how he was portrayed.
Yeah.
Bob Cratchit. Then there's his nephew. But when he finds out how he was treating these people, unnecessarily so, by the way, with the spirits of Christmas past, Christmas present, and Christmas future, this is how it pricked his mind, his conscience, because Scrooge had no conscience whatsoever. And then he became smashing. But everything was about greed and the greed of money.
Yeah.
That's what it was all about.
Absolutely.
And how people, the elite, kept it from giving back to the poor.
Yeah.
That's
And
how it was. And it's
it's
like that today.
it's a full take on that line, out of sight, out of mind. I've dealt with that. That's gone. I've dealt with that. No consequence, no conscience. And it's only when you're shown the results of what you've done or what you've not done that that's when he starts to think, I could make a difference there.
Well, how do you think Dickens went? That's the genius of the man and his words and his writing. To draw in the middle classes and the upper middles to look at how it was, how
Yeah,
greed was,
yeah,
how poverty was, and the ostracization. If you haven't got any money, well, you're no friends of mine, you're no relative of mine. That's the way it is.
yeah,
Treated as workers really with such contempt.
yeah.
But the workers had to work simply because they needed a job and they
Yeah.
worked for a pittance.
To, to provide for their families,
Yeah,
their loved ones.
yeah.
And again, we you cannot avoid the parallel with today, with the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and now, and possibly now in the 20s. It's harder to be blunt. When you and I were kids, young men, you could go out with a fiver. You could do something with your fiver, give it to family, or you go out and you can have a great time. That fiver nowadays would not get you out the door. It doesn't. It doesn't. It's been eroded, and it's woeful to think. But you think sometimes that the people who engineered Scrooge, who made it, you do it, you count your money, and you do this, and you put it, who built him up, your Marleys, all of these people. Whoa, they've gone into turbocharge. They are like everywhere now, everywhere. And I think what Dickens did and what Charlotte Bronte did was absolutely above and beyond, because he wrote about it so that there would have been a section of the middle class who were quite comfortable, thank you very much, would have read that and thought, perhaps we could give that spare fiver to the hospital or to the infirmary or to whatever. I think he made a difference. It's impossible to calculate how much of a difference he made, but within the season that he made glorious again with all classes.
Well, do you think that people took notice of what he was saying?
I think some did, Frank. Yeah, I think some did. Unfortunately, I do feel then and as now, it doesn't touch the sides with some people. They
No,
do not have. They don't have the concerns that we do, or our friends and family and stuff do. But you like to think that it impacts on people. Nowadays we're in the realms of we'll throw it all on TV. We'll get a few guest stars to come on and tap dance on a cake, and then we'll make 27 million, and they do. And I'm not knocking that. That's great if it goes to good causes.
But
But
where's just that 37? Again, I always remember Terry Wogan, right?
Yeah.
and he was doing children in need and things like that. And I read it was just one day that he demanded to do the shows, which he got 55,000 quid. So where was his charity work? And he's asking you, like that Bob Geldof, don't like that man whatsoever.
No, I don't. No.
Bob Geldof was saying when he swore, didn't he? Give us your fucking money.
Yeah. It,
And I thought, you
again, we fall for it time and time again, and it's like the Emperor's new clothes. But he's got no fucking talent.
Yeah.
No, clap hands like everyone else is doing. But he's talentless. He's clueless. And it happens on such a regular basis.
I know. Well, listen, we've come to our end now. We try to have a go. I just want to show this a minute. The last one. I held this in my hands as it was photographed. Right, that's a watch, fob watch.
Ah.
And on that fob watch, you can't see it unfortunately, are the, I can't bloody see.
Engraved names.
Where I am. Right.
Yeah.
All the names are scratched. They're the victims of Jack the Ripper.
Yes.
And they're scratched on that. And they was carbon copied by both Oxford, Cambridge, and Harvard universities. And they all came out with the same date, 1888. And whose fob watch it was Jack the Ripper himself, who has a massive Liverpool connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think?
Powerful story. Absolutely.
I'll do that one night. I'll do it. The Snape. Good night, everyone. Good night, Snape. We won't be fobbed off, Frank. No, we won't be fobbed off. And I know what you're saying there. But I think that's a good little thing there, because we're not fobbed off, as you know, Snapey. We're not fobbed off. And I know what you're talking about, the watch there. But we won't be, and we never will be. Night, Frank and everyone. Up the history Reds.
Oh, Christopher. Good night, Christopher. Thank you.
Snapey, good night, says Paulie. Well, on that wonderful note, it's been a roller coaster tonight, hasn't it?
It is, well, we touched on the Roman Empire, the birth of Christmas.
Yeah, the birth of Christianity in Rome.
Yes.
With Constantine.
Yes.
It shows. Go on.
As I've said to you privately, I would love, possibly in the new year, to learn. The old line goes, "What did the Romans do for us?" I would love if we spent a bit of time, maybe half a show or whatever, with some images we can get hold of, and if you could explain what.
Okay. How about Thursday?
This Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we not doing the open thing, or
the what thing?
The open.
Oh, the chat.
Night.
Yeah, no, we'll do that. No, we will touch on the Romans. No, say like next week or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's whatever the timetable kicks in with Frank. I'm there. I am.
So all right, on Thursday we'll be doing a chat, just an ordinary chat, just
Yeah.
an ordinary chat.
Or ask questions out the blue, pull them out the air, and
Are
between
you
us.
doing a football pod this week, Frank? Yes. Let's get this out the way first. Like, I'll be doing one tomorrow night, to be honest, Snapey. On Wednesday, Anthony will be here with myself. On on Thursday, we're doing just an open chat with everyone on here, just a chat. Whatever you want to talk about, just chat. Just say, I'm going for a Christmas tree down the market or something to put up on Christmas. Anything you want. But tomorrow night I'm having a football show. We're doing a proper, because we went off on a tangent tonight, we'll be doing a proper history of literature on Wednesday, where we'll be bringing in some of the great people and the visionaries. We want to do, really, don't we, Anthony?
Yeah. Yeah.
H.G. Wells.
Definitely. Yeah.
Got to do them, people. We have to do them.
Yeah. And a little background to them as well, I guess, Frank. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Can I give you the ring about 10 o'clock?
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Of course.
Good. And on that wonderful note, ladies and gents, thank you for joining.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Thank you for joining Anthony and myself.
Yeah. Thank you.
Just got to thank these wonderful people for sponsoring the Frank Carlyle show, and that's the fully time served gap painting services, fully insured gap painting services. And they sponsor everything. If you're an elderly person, please get them in, don't struggle. If you're an NHS worker, please don't struggle with all those mad shifts that you'll have to do. Get these people in, you get a special discount. Please get them in. They're brilliant. And we never had time to do any of this. But we will.
We will, of course.
On Wednesday. Is that okay with you?
That's fantastic, Frank. Yeah.
Have a look at Gota, Frank. He is, yeah. No, you're right, Snapey. Night, Anthony, he says, Snapey.
Good night, Snapey. Thank you.
And Owen Lee. Thank you once again for your company. Brilliant show, gents. Thank you, Owen.
Thank you, Owen. Thank you. Thank you for yours.
And, great episode. Cheers, Frank. Cheers, Anthony. Look forward to your next history show, which is on... it's this week. It's on Wednesday, because we bring history. People get mixed up about the history of literature. We do bring history into it because it's relevant. What we talk about, from Shakespeare up to Dickens and even the great poets, it's relevant to today and what's happening and what was happening at the time, if you know what I mean, Paulie. And Jason says, night all. Jason. Well, anyway, Anthony, so Wednesday, is that okay with you?
Of course, Frank. Yeah.
Brilliant. And Thursday as well, we just have an ordinary chat and see where the people that, I'm not saying where they come from, but how they think and whatever.
Do we wear Christmas hats?
Of course we do. So Scarra says, buona notte, Franco, Anthony, and chatters. Another night of great company. Thank you, Jason. That nice.
That's lovely, Toscana. Thank you.
And on that wonderful note, thank you. See, when we thank the likes of Jason, for being there for us and getting these things up, ready, getting, putting the show on, to be honest. And, you and I here, who do we have to thank mostly?
Big time thanks. Big time thanks always goes to our beautiful chat family who are wonderfully giving in their comments and their statements and their interest in
Absolutely.
us. And we value every comment that comes through, because if we didn't have yous, then we would be on that park bench.
With the Anfield Roar and Snapey, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
All them Scotches.
4 bags of chips now. Can't afford it.
And as Snapey does say, boss little few hours, that, you two. That lovely. And on that wonderful note, I'll say good night, Anthony. See you Wednesday. I don't know, mate. On the park bench throwing bread to me, says Jason. Jason's a little pigeon.
You're with us, Jason. You think we're not going to share our bag of chips with you?
Exactly.
There's 3 of us.
If he throw chips at you, they'd be cold anyway. Talk to you at about 10 o'clock if you don't mind, Ant.
That's great, Frank.
Okay, see you later on. Thank you so much, people, because as Anthony said, honestly, as he said, without you, there'd be no show. They wouldn't. Thank you so much, and all you football fans, see you tomorrow night. And on Wednesday, all you history and football fans, see you then. And on Thursday, we'll be looking at just ordinary chat. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good night, everyone. Good night.
Good night, everyone.